Something in this story will challenge the way you love God. Something in this moment will expose what you treasure most. And something in this woman's act will reveal a truth many believers overlook: that real love for Jesus is never measured by cost, only by devotion. The story of Jesus being anointed at Bethany is one of the most intimate, powerful, and misunderstood moments in the Gospels. It is a story of contrast, devotion and hypocrisy, love and criticism, generosity and greed. It is a story where one woman does what no disciple thought to do, a story where Jesus defends someone the world would have ignored, and a story that reveals the kind of worship God cherishes most. Mark 14 tells us that Jesus was in Bethany, reclining at a table in the home of Simon the leper. The setting alone is meaningful. Bethany was a place of refuge for Jesus, a place where he was loved, welcomed, and honored, not for his miracles or fame, but simply for who he was. And Simon the leper was someone who had been restored, someone whose life had been touched by Jesus in a way that changed everything. This atmosphere of gratitude sets the stage for one of the most beautiful acts in Scripture. As Jesus sits at the table, a woman enters with an alabaster jar of pure nard, an expensive perfume worth more than a year's wages. She breaks the jar and pours the perfume on his head. The action is quiet, but the meaning is thunderous. She does not speak, she does not explain, she simply worships. Her devotion is expressed not in words, but in sacrifice. Breaking the jar is significant. No turning back, no saving a little for later, no hesitation. It is total, irreversible offering. Her act is extravagant, and everyone in the room knows it. The fragrance fills the house. People smell it before they process it. It is impossible to ignore. Her devotion becomes a testimony the moment she acts. But not everyone sees it that way. Some of the people present, especially the disciples, begin to rebuke her harshly. Why this waste, they ask. This perfume could have been sold for more than a year's wages and the money given to the poor. On the surface, their words sound noble, compassionate, practical. But Jesus sees the truth. Their hearts are not aligned with God's heart. The disciples considered her act wasteful. Jesus considered it beautiful. This contrast reveals something important. People who love Jesus deeply will always confuse those who love him casually. The world understands logic. The world understands profit, the world understands efficiency, but only a surrendered heart understands worship. Jesus stops the criticism immediately. Leave her alone, he says. Why are you bothering her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. Notice the phrase, to me. Not for others, not for approval, not for recognition. Her offering was personal, direct, for Jesus alone. It is the kind of devotion that bypasses the opinions of people and touches the heart of God. Then Jesus adds something shocking. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them anytime you want, but you will not always have me. Jesus is not dismissing the poor. He is revealing a deeper truth. There is a moment to serve people, and there is a moment to honor God, and wisdom knows the difference. This woman recognized a moment no one else saw. She understood something the disciples missed. Jesus was about to die. Mark tells us Jesus said, "She poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial." She understood the cross before the cross happened. While the disciples were arguing about money, she was preparing Jesus for his greatest act of love. While others were distracted by cost, she was focused on Christ. This woman's act was prophetic. She anointed the Messiah before he was rejected. She honored him before he was humiliated. She prepared him before he was sacrificed. She gave him her greatest treasure while others struggled to give him their attention. Her devotion carried a weight that reached beyond that moment and into eternity. Jesus then makes one of the most remarkable statements in all of Scripture. "Truly I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." And here we are, 2,000 years later, fulfilling his words. Her act of worship became a part of the gospel story. Not because it was impressive, but because it was sincere. Not because it was expensive, but because it was wholehearted. This story forces every believer to ask, what am I offering Jesus? Is my worship costly or convenient? Am I holding back, or am I breaking the jar? Am I living for approval or for devotion? Am I giving him what is left over or what is precious? The woman gave her best, silently, humbly, boldly. Real worship doesn't need permission. It doesn't wait for applause. It isn't shaped by the opinions of the crowd. Real worship breaks the jar and lets the fragrance speak for itself. But there is another contrast in this story. Immediately after this moment, Mark tells us Judas went to the chief priests to betray Jesus. One woman gives everything. One man betrays everything. One pours out her treasure on Jesus. One sells Jesus for money. In the same house, in the same moment, one heart breaks in worship while another hardens in greed. The contrast is intentional. Mark wants us to see that devotion and betrayal are not far apart. They are decisions made in the heart long before they appear in actions. This story also teaches us something about Jesus' character. He defends those who love him sincerely. He protects the worship of the humble. He sees value in acts others criticize. He honors those who honor him. When others attack, Jesus affirms. When others judge, Jesus blesses. When others see waste, Jesus sees beauty. If you have ever felt like your love for God goes unnoticed, remember this woman. Jesus sees, Jesus knows, Jesus remembers, and Jesus rewards. If you have ever felt criticized for your devotion, your giving, your faith, your obedience, remember this woman. People may misunderstand you, they may judge your choices, they may question your motives, but Jesus stands between you and your critics and says, "Leave them alone, they have done a beautiful thing for me." The story also shows that worship always has a cost. To the world, devotion looks foolish. To the flesh, devotion feels inconvenient. But to God, devotion is priceless. This woman's offering was worth a year's wages, but her treasure wasn't in the jar, it was in the one she poured it on. Your offering may not be perfume, it may be your time, your integrity, your generosity, your obedience, your forgiveness, your faithfulness. But every act of devotion has a fragrance. Every sacrifice for God fills the house. Heaven notices the aroma of a surrendered life. This passage invites us to break our own jars, to give Jesus what is precious, not what is left, to honor him not only with our words, but with our actions, to love him in ways that challenge the world and awaken our souls. Jesus is still worthy of costly devotion. He is still worthy of sacrifice. He is still worthy of honor, and he still receives the gifts of those who pour themselves out for him. In the end, this story is not about perfume. It is about the heart. It is about seeing Jesus clearly, loving him deeply, worshipping him fully. This woman did not wait for permission. She did not wait for a safer moment. She did not wait until the cost was lower. She moved when her heart was moved. She broke the jar. And Jesus said, "This is beautiful." May we love Jesus with the same courage. May we honor him with the same devotion. May we give him our best, not our leftovers. May our lives carry the fragrance of worship. Thank you for watching this message. If it encouraged you, please like the video, follow the Holy Path Insights channel, and share this message so others can be strengthened in their faith.